What hike did we just do?
IAO Valley Tableland Hike. It's one of my favorites. And here's what's interesting about that hike is the whole time you're going through, you can't see much, huh? Like you're on the trail and it's beautiful, you're in these trees, but stepped in animal turd. Does anybody know what kind of animal that is? I have no idea. Dallas? Dallas? What kind of animal poop is this? Elephant? But then you get to this opening, it's like, oh, okay. Yeah. Okay, now I get it. Yeah. Okay, we're gonna have a pull-up competition. Ready?
Okay.
Go.
Let's see. Here he goes.
I got this. You go first though.
Okay.
I wanna see how many I need to beat.
I forget Max. I don't know about this one. Let's see. The grip is gonna be the technique.
1, 2, 3. Whoa.
Max
4. 25.
My goodness. There's no way you're beating me.
God. Get to 30. You. Oh. No. 37. Dude, bro.
Yes. Just don't show my legs.
1, 2, 2, 3, 4, 5, 32. Let's go, come on. Oh. Let's see it, Ty. Let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34. Oh, no way. Do we count the last one? Yeah, I think we need an instant replay. We need an instant replay on that last rep. 34. Oh, holy cow. Sheesh. Look at these old guys putting it down.
We're gonna have to go to the gym now.
Yeah.
Tyler just talked about how beautiful it was on the way up, and the view's obviously like amazing.
Yeah.
Sometimes in life we just get too focused on the view and how good it's going to feel when we get up there and actually see this beautiful vista, and we miss all the details that are happening along the way and all the great things that are happening and we're able to, you know, absorb.
One of you guys mentioned oftentimes we put too much weight on achieving the goal, getting up here to the top, that we forget about the enjoyment through the journey.
Well, that's something that's near and dear to my heart because I've been caught in that trap before. You know, for me it was the goal of growing a business and becoming proficient and a master at my craft. And I had other components to my life that I was losing sight of. And one of those things was being a dad and enjoying my 1-year-old and my 3-year-old at the time, and being so miserable because I wasn't at that big vista yet, and so frustrated about the things that weren't happening for me and were happening to me and all these things, that I lost sight of all these like amazing gifts that I had been given that were tangible to me in that moment. And that was extremely powerful when I came to an awakening at what I was missing. And really that's where it started for me. And once I was able to grasp that, building systems in my life so I don't ever lose sight of that again. Because it can happen. It can happen. You can, you know, that's how growth works. Sometimes we get obsessed about accomplishing something great, and it makes us, we talk about, you and I, blinded by ambition, right? That's what we're saying. That's what we mean when we say we can become blinded by our ambition. We lose sight of all the gifts and all the blessings and all the great things, all the sounds, all the visuals that are happening on the trail along the way. And what's interesting is if you stop and pay attention to that, it actually gives you more fuel to get up to that vista a lot quicker, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Do you want to add anything to you? I know you're bubbling over here wanting to add
No,
something.
I'm listening because, you know, my thought was, how do we do that, right? Like along that journey, it's one thing to know, like, yes, we need to enjoy the journey, but it's these systems I feel like that you put in place to make sure that you find gratitude to enjoy the journey, you know? So I love your journal, bro, because your journal makes it easy to do that, because you go through and every morning, what's the first thing you do? You write down what you're grateful for. Yeah, you write down what you're grateful for, and it forces you to find gratitude wherever you're at, and no matter what challenges, setbacks, or struggles that we're experiencing, there's always something that's beautiful and enjoyable and meaningful in our life if we take a second to reflect upon it, you know? And that's on anything. That's on a trail, you know, to just pause and be like, I'm so grateful that I have legs that I can freaking climb up this bitch, you know?
Yeah.
Or whatever it is. And find joy in gratitude and everything. Gratitude, I feel like, is the biggest life hack out there. That's just focusing on that.
And I think
100%.
I think a big why to, meaning why do we have to do that? Why do we have to use a tool like that? Is because the world, all the different gurus and access points for learning and options for entertainment and things that you can buy, and like the list goes on and on and on. It's so saturated that your brain just gets wired so incorrectly in accordance with what everybody else thinks needs to be your agenda. And it doesn't need to be your agenda. Your agenda is your agenda, and it's up to you to define that with clarity and specificity, and providing those details every day, like gratitude, like learning, you know, finding lessons in every experience that you have every day. That is where true power for growth comes from, and becoming your best self. It's your best self. It's not everybody else's best self. It's your best self. And it's just powerful, man. And I think that's the why to it all, is if you aren't strategic about that and you don't use a tool like a journal, like a growth guide, somebody else will provide you with incorrect tools and you'll be left to everybody else's devices. And that is a dangerous way to live a life.
Those incorrect tools can create incorrect habits too, which are so much harder to correct if you didn't.
The more they become ingrained,
the more, exactly.
I'll tell you this, the devil's biggest tool is, and the devil, you can look at the devil however you want to. I don't care what people believe in, there's a positive and a negative force. So
Dark
the negative
side.
force, yeah, whatever, dark side, right? It's distraction. In today's world, the biggest, you know, tool that the adversary has is distraction. It's everywhere. Like Britt and I were just talking about it at night, and about how, and I'll tell you, man, a challenging thing for me right now in my life is these new roles that I have, right? And it's, you know, I'm delegating certain things that used to be my baby, dude, and now I'm delegating that. And that's a beautiful thing to delegate that and empower somebody else to go and do that. But at the same time, it leaves me wondering all the time, like, where should my focus be? And if I don't define it, and I'll be honest with you, there's been multiple times throughout this journey lately, over the past year, where I haven't defined it, right? But this is the point that I love, like the systems that you've helped me dial in, dude, is you've helped me understand that we have to define it. And then when you define it, what happens is it brings this ultimate clarity, and it weeds out distraction, and then you can move forward, right? And if you don't do that, you get so frustrated. You could be making progress, man, and you could even be on the journey to accomplish something beautiful, dude. But if you haven't defined that this is the beautiful thing you're looking to accomplish, and you don't have gratitude in the moment, you get frustrated in that moment because you just feel like you're spinning your wheels. Which, once again, you could be even making progress. But like, if you don't define what you're trying to make progress towards, you feel lost. You know? So systems.
Productive human being. It's so funny you say that, because there was something that I was recently listening to. It was a podcast about my wife and I were going through a hard thing with our family, and I wanted to relate with somebody, and they were talking about that same thing of like how important clarity is and specificity with your vision and your destination, and how that's something you need to address quarterly at least. At the very least, address that every quarter. And because if not, you can be a really productive human being, but you won't be going anywhere in terms of growth. Like, you won't be growing, whether that's your business. I just look at life as a whole. You're not going to be growing in your life and moving up that progression by just being productive. You have to have clarity on what the destination is, where your aim is, what the target is, and then once you have that, then that's where true growth happens. You know, we're not aiming just to be productive. We're not aiming to be busy. We're aiming to get somewhere. And we have to know where that somewhere is.
I love that, man. That applies to everything. Like whoever's watching this, you know, we obviously have a bunch of people that acquire apartments, right? That's their bread and butter. That's their focus. It's my bread and butter. It's my focus, right? And it's the same thing with a property, dude. You have to define what the exit is, and then your decisions with that property need to align with your exit strategy. That's how you maximize the exit strategy. That exit strategy can change. It can change as you're going, right? You're going to reevaluate, and it changes, but it gives you that direction. That's with the property. That's with being a dad. That's with being a husband. That's with being in your life, a business owner, whatever. You just have to define it and move it, right? And if you don't, then you won't maximize your exit strategy. And my exit strategy is when I die, and I want to maximize that mother effer, dude. I want to maximize it. So thank you guys for helping me maximize.